Hello friends, Cheryl here with inkedpulp, and I'm back with another fun video today. I have a journal that I started a while ago and I haven't worked in it in a long time, so I wanted to add to it and I wanted to bring you guys along for the fun. So welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I welcome you. I hope you enjoy the video and I hope you decide to stick around and subscribe and all that good stuff. And if you're a returning viewer, you know that I so appreciate your support and am happy to have you back to partake in this video. All right, so let's see what this journal is. This is a journal that I made to pass on to my son when I'm gone. And it is a memories journal. And in it, I've already started some pages, not all. But like, for example, here's a page that I started, or that I did. And in it will be memories. When I was a little girl, my favorite show on TV was Flipper. Grandpa said I was always squirming just like Flipper, so that's what he nicknamed me. Both Grandpa and Grandma called me Flipper till the day they died. So just little memories of, me as a little girl, and there's the dolphin. So just, stuff like that my son can go back and look at and have memories of Mom. This was a more recent memory. And then, I have no idea when this picture was taken. So here's a little picture of me when I was a little girl. And stuck that in a little envelope. And I don't know, cursey words, something about cursing. Oh, there was my junior prom date in high school. And I wrote about him, my date. This had to do with a Japanese restaurant. Oh, this is the one I had to share with you. So when I was a little girl at my grandparents' house down in their basement, they had a room off of the basement that had a closet in it. And the closet did not have doors on it. It had a curtain. It was a long closet. And it had a curtain over it. And so I used to tell my brother and my cousins that a witch lived in there. So be careful when you pass by that curtain, because the witch might open it up and get you. And so, of course, it scared them all, and everybody was afraid of the curtain. But what it did in the long run, I told that story so many times that I scared myself, and I was scared to death to go past that closet. So that was a fun memory. And I made a little curtain. And when you pull back when you pull back the curtain, you see the witch in there. And then I told the story and put it in the little flip out there. But anyway, it's just full of fun stuff like that. This was about the time when we lived in Panama. My dad was in the service, and there were beautiful butterflies there, and I wanted to catch butterflies. So my dad had a fishing net. This is the handle, and then I put some lace out there to represent the net. So I went and caught butterflies, and unfortunately the net was made of fabric, or not fabric, but like string, and the butterflies chewed all through the string and got away. And I ran and put that net back, so my dad never knew. I don't know what he ever thought happened to it, but he never said anything to me. This is the page we're going to work on today. So I really encourage you to do something like this. If this was about the 70s and something with hippies, and so I put some 70s stuff there. This would have been another good page for today, but I'm not going to use that one. So anyway, that's what this journal is. And I would like to work on a page today that is this page here. And the story that we're going to use for this page is the story of when I was young. I was 5. And my grandparents lived in Seattle, in a house in Seattle. And so my parents and I lived there with them. They were very young, and my dad was getting ready to go off to Vietnam, and we were staying with my grandparents in their house in Seattle, in West Seattle. And one night, I got really mad at my parents for some reason. I was 5 years old. Let's put this down as I tell the story. I was 5 years old, and I got really angry with my parents. And it was nighttime, and I said, I'm running away from home. And they were like, okay, that's what you want to do. So I went and got my little suitcase, and I packed it all up, and I don't even remember what I put in it, but I do remember getting my little suitcase. I don't know where I thought I was going, but I took off out of the house. And again, we lived in West Seattle, so there were a lot of busy streets, and it was at nighttime, not really a place for a 5-year-old to be out wandering around. So I started out in the dark, and at first I wasn't afraid because I knew the area. And I just sort of, went over to, I think it was 35th Avenue, where all the buses ran and stuff. And I thought, okay, I'm going to go over here and get on the bus. Get a glue book here to glue on. I didn't have any money, I don't think. But anyway, I started getting a little nervous, and I started looking around, and I looked behind me, and there was a man following me. And he was far enough back, and it was dark enough that I couldn't tell who it was. I couldn't see him good enough. So then I started getting really worried because this man was following me. So I walked for a while longer. I was out there for probably a good half hour. And I finally got too scared. So I turned around and I went back home and told him I changed my mind. I wasn't going to run away. Well, it turns out that man that was following me was my father. He followed me to make sure nothing happened to me. But that was my big story of running away from home when I was 5 years old. So this is to kind of emulate my grandparents' house. Now, my grandfather always grew roses. He had beautiful roses. So I got some roses down here. This isn't exactly what their house looked like, but, it was kind of from that era back in the, early 60s, I guess it was. I was born in the late 50s. This would have been in the early 60s. So we'll put down this. And then my background is to emulate the fact that it's nighttime. Now, I didn't ink that up because it's already pretty dark. And then this little picture looks so much like me when I was young. Of course, every little girl is blonde, but it just really struck me that she really kind of looked like me. So, and she's carrying a little bag. So I thought, well, we'll put her down as me. And when I get everything glued down, I'm going to show you where I got all these images from. All right. So then we have me walking away from Grandma and Grandpa's house, heading out. She's facing outward. So there's that. Now, I am also going to put a little pocket on here. We're going to make it, I wanted something similar to this so that I can write the story on it and put it down in there. So where did I get the image? The house and the tree came out of this book, Extraordinary Things to Cut Out and Collage. All kinds of good images in here, but yeah, I cut the tree and then I got the house in here as well. So that's where that came from. The girl I got in an Etsy kit that I bought. I don't off the top of my head know whose it was, but I will put it in the description box. I'll look up which kit I got. It's beautiful. It has all sorts of little kids. Some are angry, some are cute. I thought she was really cute, so I cut her out because I think she just looks a lot like me. All right, so there is up close my little picture. Now, I got this kind of cardstock because it's similar to the colors on the pages, and I wanted to. What did I do with that little? There it is. So what I thought I would do is kind of put this down and trace around it. And then I can just cut it. And have a similar size. And then we can decorate that a little bit before I glue it down. So yeah, I've got all sorts of memories from my childhood, and I just thought it would be fun. Some of these stories my son has heard before. Many of them he has not. Most of them he has probably not. So I thought it was fun. Another one that I want to do, we used to go camping all the time with my grandparents when I was little. And so there's that. I do want to sew around this. So I'm going to pause this. Let me finish telling the camping story first. Let's see if that's going to fit on there just like that. We went camping along a river with my grandparents, and there were other people there too. My parents didn't often go with us, but I think they were there that time. Does this go? No, it's too busy. And so as kids, the cousins, we were all down at the river playing. And back then, we just went by ourselves. Nobody went with us. And we were splashing around. And we saw laying in the creek a big old watermelon. We thought, oh, how cool is that? So we grabbed the watermelon and we're taking it back to camp. And I don't know if I was carrying it or somebody else was carrying it, but the watermelon fell on the rocks and split open. So we're carrying now 2 pieces. And we get back to camp and said, Grandma and Grandpa, look what we found in the river. And my grandma was so mad. She says, oh, you kids. She says, I put that in the river to cool off so it would get cold because the river was ice cold. And so she was mad at us that we found it and tried to bring it back to camp. But, that's just another fun story that, oh, this is gauze paper, by the way, that, I can put in here and share with my son. This is actually gauze paper. I had it on the wrong side. It's gauze. I have a whole pad of it, but this was the right color for this one. So I'm going to go sew around it and ink it, and I'm going to put us on pause real quick so you don't have to sit through me sewing, and I will be right back. All right, everybody, I'm back, and we're sewed and inked around. Now, before I glue that down, I was going to do some stamping on that background. Oh, well, I didn't. I forgot, and I think it's just fine. All right, I'm going to take a little piece of this vintage. This is really old. This is actually antique, not even vintage. And I'm going to put a piece of this down here across the pocket. And then let's see, I want to fray it up just a little bit. Give it just something to make it look a little tattered and old. Because I was 5 years old many, many, many years ago. All right, now I want to look through. Here's one that is sort of a tealy color, which matches that really well. I don't know that I need to put it right in the middle. I kind of put it off to the side. And then if I want to put a word there, I can do that. So let's glue all this down. Let me see if there's any other flowers I see that. Nope, nothing in there. There's some white ones. All right. No, I think I'm going to stick with the blue. All right, I'm just going to stick with what I have. I'm not going to get too crazy about all of this. So I'm going to put, oh, I checked this right before I went live, and it was flowing just fine. And now I get on the live, and it doesn't want to work. Isn't that just the way it goes? There it goes. But I did check it before I didn't go live, but I'm recording. Well, goodness sakes, there must be a glob of something in there that keeps getting. I just need enough to hold it down. There we go. Now it's coming out well. All right. All right. Oops. Stuck to my finger. All right. Then I'm going to put this down here. So this isn't, I try to make my pages sort of match the stories that are in them, at least a little bit. But you don't have to. You can just put, you can just put your pages in and put your stories in that. Let's see if I have a little word here that I could use. I can do hard things. I like that. I like that for this particular image. Or, this is a little bit smaller, anything is possible. You put your mind to it. You can pack your bag at 5 years old and go for little walk down 35th Avenue in Seattle, West Seattle. And you can make it back home safely. So we'll just put anything is possible. And then we'll put this down there. Now, I'm not going to write the story on camera. I'll do that offline and then stick it in the pocket. But I've got one more story. I'll just go right down at the edge of the page because I don't want it sticking up so far that I'm going to fold the paper so it doesn't interfere with the image. All right, and there we go. And then I will have a piece of paper, something like find a little piece of paper in here. Of course, when I want it, I can't find it. But I'll have something like this. In fact, I may even use this piece of paper to write on it. Just write my little story on there. Oh, a little too wide, but there we go. And then my story will be on that piece of paper. So there's my page in my memories journal for my son about the time that when I was 5 years old, I ran away from home, followed by my dad, and then I got scared and turned around and went back home again. And I don't think I ever tried running away again. That wasn't for me. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you being here and following along on this journey. I'll probably do more of these pages. I'll come online and share more of these pages because they really are a lot of fun. And, you know, I've got them spread. This is a remember. I don't remember what I was writing about, but there's another one. I don't know what that was about, but I don't even remember what some of these are about. But anyway, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you being here. If you haven't already, please give me a thumbs up and please leave me a comment if you would. I'd love to hear what you think about the idea of a memory journal, if you have something like this, or if you plan to make something like this. All right, thanks everybody, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.